The next step is determining your business name, and this is very, very important. Your business name is not something you're going to flip around and change at whim, because it's going to cause problems. Years ago, I watched a business who was in my field. It was a massage school, and they'd spent millions of dollars over time advertising their business name. And when that school thought they wanted to go nationally, they thought, well, there's no way we can take our school nationally with the city's name embedded in that. So we need to change the name. Well, they changed it and caused a lot of confusion. It actually was the beginning of the demise of that school in their future. But by changing that name, it caused massive confusion in the community. So if you're going to spend money advertising your business, find a name up front you can stick with the rest of those years for that for your business. Let's talk more about that specifically. Again, if you want to have a simple copyright, John Doe and Associates pretty much is the easy thing to do. You're not going to have someone say you can't use that because that's your name. So unless you have a conflicting name, so if you're in the hamburger business and your name is McDonald's, yeah, it's going to be hard to open up McDonald's hamburgers. You'll find something different, but check it out. Make sure your name is not used. But that's probably the easiest thing to make sure that's not being used is your own name. But beware of, when it comes to names, of something called dilution. When I started my massage school, I went from Body Mechanics Myotherapy and Massage to Body Mechanics School of Myotherapy and Massage. And when we had to do this, I'm going to be careful how I tell the story. When I did this, we had to send in 3 binders of application for our school. And one of the people in the organization that received my binder to review it, to approve our school, saw that name and thought, wow, Body Mechanics, what a great name for a business. So he decided to open up a massage clinic in our area called Body Mechanics, sort of. So I got a phone call after I had put together my proposal, and I got a phone call 2 weeks later or so, and a friend said, hey, congratulations, I saw you expanded your business. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, I saw out in the city that you have a new business called Body Mechanic Massage. I thought, where? And he told me. So I went for a drive, and I drove by, and sure enough, there it was, Body Mechanic Massage. Well, my business was called Body Mechanics with an S. So he took the name, changed it a tiny bit, and thought that was a great idea. So I gave him a phone call, and I said, hi, this is Robert Hasse. I said, I see you have used our business name for years. And he said, oh, no, it's just Body Mechanic. And I said, his name, I said, do you think if I opened up a hamburger stand nationally and I called it McDonald's Hamburgers, I might not get sued? He said, I said, it's actually called dilution. You cause confusion in the marketplace, and you're stealing the phonetic sound, the way a business sounds, to make your business have more success. So if you have a business name that is the exact same name, but is similar or sounds like somebody else's name, you will get sued and you will lose. So that's called dilution. It causes confusion and diminishes the value of that person's name. So be very careful, not just of the exact name, but the phonetic sounding. So for Body Mechanics with an IX at the end, again, same sound. I couldn't get a federal trademark patent on that, because if somebody else had that name, I have a problem. So be careful of the sound phonetically of the same business name. So how do you research a business name and make sure it's not being used by someone else? Well, first of all, when you go to get your state license, on your state websites, typically your state of Washington or California or whoever will have a database you can search for names. Cities often have this as well. But if you're in a certain town and you have a business name and nobody else has it in your town, but they have one in an adjacent city, you still might have problems, because just because it's not one in your town, if that business wanted to expand and they were there first, they had the business name first in your state, you likely would lose that. So be very careful if anybody has that name in your state whatsoever. I don't recommend having the same exact name. And just because a state allows you to have a business license, your master license for your state allows you to have that. If it's a different spelling, maybe you have a comma, any change in that name, they'll say, sure, you can have that because it's slightly different. It doesn't mean you can use it. So legally, you can have that business name from a business paperwork standpoint, but when you advertise, you may not have the exact same name. It's going to cause you a problem. You also can check through web search tools. So look at Bing and look at Google and look at all the various websites and search for that and search phonetically. The nice thing about Google is it will say, did you mean, and have a different spelling. And so look at every phonetic variation and every spelling variation you can think of, and make sure nobody's using that name. Also check the Federal Trademark Patent Office, that their database, you can search for the same thing as well. If they already have a federal registered trademark, that means it has a R with a circle around it. If they have that and you decide you want to use it, you will lose if they sue you. So they may not know that you've got your ABC massage in some podunk small town, and they have a master business nationally selling massage therapy services through some kind of a network of businesses. Be very careful. Do your search. Make sure you have it. But as soon as you have it, you need to have a trademark on that. And a trademark means you put a TM next to the name. As soon as you first use it, the first time you have a flyer or brochure, print it out, have that piece of paper, put the date on it when you first use that, and put that in a safe somewhere, because someday you may have to prove that you were the first person to use it. We call it in the business world peeing on your tree. It's like a dog marking its territory, right? So as soon as you use that name in business, you put it in writing somewhere, print something up, you have it dated of when you first used it. And one way to do that, actually a great way, is to, let's say it's a business card, and you put that business card in an envelope, seal it, and mail it to yourself, and never open it. So when you receive it back, it now has a federal stamp by the post office of what date you use that. And it's a great way to kind of protect yourself. Musicians use that quite a bit with lyrics. So actually mail lyrics to themselves, and they'll have a date now on the envelope. When you're searching for a name on the websites, search engines, try it two different ways. If you have 2 words in your name, search with it, with 2 words, but also try it with parentheses. For my business name, for my seminars, I have Hossie Seminars. I also have Hossie Myotherapy. Well, I couldn't get a federal trademark, R with a circle around it. I could not get that federal approval on the word myotherapy. Myotherapy is a word used by many people. It means muscle therapy, right? And so the word myotherapy could not be trademarked because Bonnie Pruden's used it, but she has trademarked Bonnie Pruden Myotherapy. I've trademarked Hossie Myotherapy. So I can't really just use the word Hossie, that's my last name, and I can't use the word myotherapy, but together, that group of words, Hossie Myotherapy, is registered trademark by the patent office. So if you want to go for a trademark, first use a TM until you apply for it, and that costs money, and there's ways to do that. But make sure you do that first. If you want to get the patent, go to uspto.gov, and you'll search the information on there. It tells you how to apply. But you're going to do that application process when the time comes. When you have a business name with your state, so Hossie and Associates Incorporated is my business name through the state, but under that state corporation license, I have doing something called DBA, or doing business as. So under that, I have Hossie Seminars, I have Hossie Myotherapy, I have a number of things, and under that corporation, I have doing business as. If I have someone write me a check for Hossie Seminars, I have to make sure that with my state license, I've listed my various DBAs with that. So I've listed those various company names. So in my bank, I open up my business bank account, which we'll talk about later, but they're going to want to see, do you have that right to use that DBA? Is that listed on your state license? And so make sure that you take time to do that. When you open up your state, get your state licenses, you're going to want to make sure you list every possible doing business as that you're going to use in the course of business as well. So just be aware of that. Some jurisdictions make you put in the newspaper for a period of days and whatever, but you'll ask your local licensing authorities what they require you to do. They'll gladly tell you. The process of getting a DBA, like I said, you'll have to list it potentially, but there's a registration cost. Some counties want you to register with them, but typically it's going to be through your state from a business license standpoint. So just do the research and find out for yourself. The next thing you want to do when you're looking for a business name is check the websites. If you want ABC Massage, do a check for abcmassage.com. And I recommend actually that if you do register that you register for several organization types. One is a .net, one is .com, and make sure you have that. There's a couple other ones being added constantly, opening up new options for that. The idea of .org is not available to you. You might be able to get it, but you're not supposed to use that unless you are a nonprofit organization. So, but do a check for that, making sure that you have a number of searches on the web for the website. If it's available and you want to use that, snap it up as soon as you can. and also maybe do a couple variations. And your website development team will tell you that you're going to have, I've got 15 different web names for my business, and they all forward to the same website. So if you put just someone out there is just thinking, geez, I want to have, deep tissue, whatever.com, and they search for that, it will forward them to your site. So find some variations if you'd like to, but make sure that at least the business name that you want is being properly listed on the web servers, and get that name secured as soon as possible. It doesn't cost you very much, and you use a web development company. We'll talk about that later, but so you want to register that name as soon as possible, as soon as you determine what name you want. One final thing is that you might want to look at misspellings when you're getting your web addresses set aside. If there's a common way to misspell your name, if someone might misspell when they type in your business name, secure that also. That's an option for you. So when you secure that information, just go ahead and take the extra step and to get a couple different domains with misspellings that, again, forward to your website. And that just makes sure your clients, when they're trying to find you, or get you for sure. So once you've done all your research, select your name, and that's going to lead you into your business licensing process. But before we do that, we work on the next section, which is going to be on business entities and structures.